Welcome to the Summative Assessment World Template. I made this template with the idea of having teachers create a Minecraft world, but without all the complexities of worrying about command blocks or any of those kinds of things. So this world is kind of unique in that you really just have to input the information and the game mechanics are already built there for you. The other unique aspect is that all of the answers that students give for the questions will be recorded and they will be put into a board at the very end of this whole world experience. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the items that you'll need to download and unzip, and the very first one of those is going to be the planning document. This is the Summative Game World question planning, and it's a Word document that will allow you to put your questions, plan for your questions for each aisle. And you'll notice here that I have the aisle numbers, I have some information about the different aisles, and I also have the correct answers. Now this is important because you want to make sure that you gear your questions towards the way the NPC is designed. That would be the easiest for you basically. Each NPC has a default of 4 answers unless I indicated otherwise. Some are true, false, and so you'll see that in there as well. All you need to do then, once you have your questions planned out here and you have them typed out for each one of these boxes, you will simply copy the information in the box and then you'll paste it into the NPC. And basically it's that simple. That file is the world file. So once you unzip it, look for the world file. It'll be a summative game template, and you'll import that. And when you click on the import button, it'll bring up a dialog box, find where you saved it, and then you'll go to view my worlds and it'll be under summative game adventure. You will click on it, click play, and then you'll be ready to go. And just as your students will, you will actually spawn into the world in survival mode. And this is not going to serve you well to customize the game, so you're going to hit T to open up the chat function. All right, and we're going to hit /game mode C, and that'll put us in creative. Okay. The other thing I want to do is we're going to have to go back into the chat feature, so hit T, and we're going to hit /WB. That allows us to access our NPCs with World Builder. So I'm going to double tap the space bar that allows me to fly, and then I'm using W to move me forward here. And one thing I would want to do is I want to actually avoid that stone structure right there. I don't want to go through there. You'll see on the right hand side there's actually a timer, and that timer will begin once a student walks through that gate right there. All right, so as you customize, you're going to want to avoid that gate. So this is fairly simple. You can click on the NPC. You can change the teacher's name to whatever you want. This is my last name. So you can do that. You can put Mr., you can put Mrs., you can put whatever title is that you would like to in front of that. That's absolutely fine. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click on Edit Dialog, and this is actually where you type the information. All right, so you just click on the dialog box and you can actually delete all of this information here. And if you use the planning document, you can actually highlight whatever information you have in that document for this first teacher NPC. You can hit Control C to copy it, and then you hit Control V then to paste it right in here. And this is really meant for introduction. So there's one teacher NPC at the beginning of each one of the aisles that gives an introduction to that aisle. Okay. Now, one other little feature you can add in here is something under Advanced Settings. You can actually add a URL. So if you had a video you wanted students to be able to access, or different files you wanted them to be able to access, you could do that through a URL. So we're going to move on here, and you'll see there are various buildings on each one of these aisles. They were built there specifically for the review world that I created, but I decided to leave them in there because you could actually, do some things in there if you wanted to. You could throw some more NPCs in there just for the fun of it. It's just a few more things for students to be able to explore. So the first NPC that actually has a question is this guy right here. Okay. And this is question 1. Okay. And you'll see right here on the board, and I only put this on this first aisle here, but there are a few boards next to some of the NPCs that will allow you to be able to put in longer questions. And so in order to edit these, you just click on the board, and once again, just like the first teacher NPC, you just delete it all, and you can copy and paste your question from your planning document. To access the NPC, just going to click on them. You can change the name of the NPC to whatever you want it to be, all right, or you can just leave it as question 1. You can then edit the dialogue, and you'll notice here the top part is designed for you to put your question in. So once again, you'll have to highlight it. You can use the arrows, and go back to delete this information. You can then put your question in here, right? And then you can type the rest of your question out. And then I put what the correct answer is actually for that slot. So a correct answer will actually give students a speed effect, which will speed them up. An incorrect answer will slow them down. All right, now if a student decides just to go in and just start clicking answers, all of those effects will just kind of add up. So they'll still be slow. So that's the reason why I built in the time function, because what makes this world really unique is the fact that all of the questions the students answer will actually be recorded on these boards. So however they answer, those answers will actually be put in here. So if on the first question they answer it correctly the first time, all you'll see is a green block in that first slot. If they answer the question incorrectly the first time, and incorrectly the second time, and incorrectly the third time, it'll show you all the correct answers, all the incorrect answers that they answered, and then it will go from there. So every answer a student clicks on will actually be recorded here. So that way if a student just clicks on all the answers, they will all be recorded here for you as a teacher to be able to see. And it goes aisle by aisle. The other unique aspect is that every one of these also has an NPC that you can then code for enrichment purposes. If a student just does outstanding, all the correct answers first time, or if a student struggled through the aisle and you noticed, oh, there's a lot of red on that board, then you can also put some resources in there to help them maybe review that particular concept that was featured on that aisle. Okay, so this goes for all 6 of them. The first one starts here at the end, and it moves all the way through all 6 of them. This is also a great opportunity to have students write about their success or some of their hardships they had when they were going through the aisles here. It's a chance to do some writing, and then they could submit that writing along with the results of their assessment. You can have them take some photos in their using their camera, their in-game camera, and submit all of those as well. Now if we go back to the regular game mechanics, you'll see the bridge mechanic here that's quintessential to the game. We can see that the bridge itself is out, so if we fly over to the bridge, the idea is that correct answers will then build pieces of the bridge out. And because the world is in adventure mode, students cannot actually get any resources to build it themselves. So the only way they can build from one island to the next is by answering questions correctly. All right, so there are 6 worlds here. You'll notice each world has slightly different features on it, slightly different items. Of course, you can delete these if you want. You can go in and pick them out block by block. You can leave them, you can utilize them, you can add to them. Really, once again, this is just a template. It's just a starting point. So I tried to keep it as basic as I could, giving you resources to be able to create your own world fairly simply. And ultimately, this is all leading to the final island. So there are 6 question islands, and then there is one. This is the 7th aisle. However, there are no questions on here. This is the reward island, where students will be placed in creative mode, and they will then have the ability to kind of play around, I guess, in this castle world if they'd like. The timer will then stop for them as well, so students can. One last tip I have is, because you are creating this world and you want other people to be able to play this world, we have to set it up at the very end, so that way whoever would spawn into the world spawns in the way you want them to. So you're going to have to head back to the beginning after you've filled in all the NPCs, after you've customized the 6 aisles or 7 aisles, however it is that you want to customize it. Then you have to hop back to the beginning, and once you go back to the beginning, You're going to go back into your chat menu just by hitting T, and you're going to change your game mode to adventure. So you're going to go game mode A, and then if you happen to have any kind of inventory, we want to make sure we clear that out. So we're going to hit the T key again, once again, to get into your commands, and we're just going to type the word clear, and it will clear any inventory you might possibly have. Then you're going to hit the escape button. You will save and exit, of course. Now you'll come back to this screen, and once you get back to this screen, you'll have to click on View My Worlds, and then you'll see right here, Summative Game. All right, you'll click on that, you'll click on Settings, and you'll probably want to rename this game based off of whatever your content area is, whether it's math, science, social studies. All right, so you'll want to rename this something, your content area. All the rest of the settings should be perfectly fine. It should be already set up for you. All right, and then you're going to go all the way down the screen here to where it says Export World. You'll click on Export World, and that will bring up a dialog box that will allow you to save it to your computer. Just remember where you save your world to, and then when you're ready to actually deploy it with students, you can upload it to OneNote, you can upload it to Google Classroom. There's all kinds of places that you can upload it to that will allow you to be able to share it with students. So just upload that to whatever LMS you use, and then students can download it, and then they can play it. So it's really that simple. All right, so now you can create your own summative world where you create a summative assessment within Minecraft, and all of the game mechanics are already set up for you. So best of luck and happy building.